Hello everyone, what is up and welcome back to the channel Rumors. So all of you would have watched my review on the Samsung Galaxy laptop. I'm really not gonna bring up the model number again. Really can't pronounce it, so I'm just gonna put it right over here. So you all would have seen the review and I hope you all loved it. If you all have any comments, if you all have any things that you all want to say, then just do leave in the comments below or in that video, or you could leave in this video as well. So since the review is done, I decided to take more time into looking at this laptop, and I saw that the SSD and the RAM were upgradable. Yeah, I already knew that the RAM was upgradable, but the SSD and the ease of access in repairing this actually quite surprising. This is a laptop from 2013. Usually laptops from early 2000s to about 2010, 2015, those are really upgradable. So in my self-repair videos, it doesn't just mean self-repair, it means upgradability as well. So today we're going to be taking a look at how you upgrade the hard drive or the SSD on your Samsung laptop. So mine has an SSD inside, but this laptop came in with a 500GB hard disk drive. So we all know hard disk drives are prone to failures, unlike SSDs. SSD lasts much longer. Of course, mine inside it has an SSD, but yours is the hard drive. But the procedure is going to be the same. So without further ado, let's get started right into removing the SSD. So here we've got our laptop, and for this repair we just need our toolkit and a spare SSD. But for me, I'm just going to be using the same SSD that I have, so it's not going to be of an issue. So let me just take it out, put my laptop to the side. Now let me just take out my magnetic board that I have for repair. We're going to be using it to align these screws. So firstly, let's flip this laptop around, and the first thing that we got to do before we start any repair is to cut off any power. I've already shut it down, and then the next thing I'm going to do is to remove the battery. If yours is having a removable battery, it's always good to remove it. So let's quickly open it up, slide the battery out. Once battery is removed, the next thing we gotta do is to remove this one screw that we have over here. There we go, pretty fast. Once the screw is removed, slide the panel downwards and you remove it. Now the panel removed, let's put it aside. Here you can see this is the hard disk drive of this laptop, and this is the RAM. We're not going to be touching the RAM right now. We're going to be going on to the hard disk. So what we have to do is to remove this 1, 2 and 3. We're going to remove these 3 screws in order for us to access the outer layer of this hard disk drive. This is the covering layer, and below this is the SSD. Just to let you all know, this is using the same screwdrivers, so we don't have to worry about any screws getting mixed up. Okay, there we go. 1, 2 and 3. 3 screws removed. Now all you gotta do is to take the pull tab over here, and we're gonna slide it downwards, and there we go. The SSD has been removed. Just lift it up, and here we go. The SSD has been removed. Now that it's removed, we can put this laptop aside. And what are we going to do, you may ask me? We still have some parts to remove on this SSD. This is the housing of the SSD. We're going to remove it so that we can use it for the newer SSD. But if you're coming from a hard disk, or if you're coming from a hard disk, then you might have to get a new caddy. So just be reminded of that. We've got 4 screws, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you've got to remove all 4 of them. I already removed one, so let's quickly remove the other. As you're removing it, I just want to let you all know that this screw and the screws that were used to remove the housing are different. So just remember to keep it separately. Like me, this is the SSD screws and this is the screws for the covering plate. The thickness is slightly different. Okay, 4 screws removed. All we gotta do is to remove the SSD. This is the 120GB SanDisk SSD. I think the person who previously removed decided not to fully secure in place with this adhesive. This is actually a good thing, because if this SSD fails, you don't have to pry it open from here. You can just remove. Mine is perfectly working, so I'm just going to be using the same SSD. We're going to take the SSD caddy. It's very simple. Just lay it flat on top of here, slide it in, and there we go. If you want more assurance, you can ensure that the screws and the holes at the SSDs are aligned together. Once you know that's aligned, it's just time to put all the screws that you take back in. So I just realized something when I was screwing this in. Just ensure that you put a bit of pressure in to secure it in place. This is not like the other screws. When taking out, it was easy, but when you screw it in, you just got to use slight amount of more force. Now let's screw it in place. Okay, it has been screwed into place inside this housing. Now bring back the laptop. We gotta just slide it in. Not much worries. Just slide it in and ensure that it's seated in place. There you go. Once it's in, it's time to just screw all the screws that we took. 1, 2 and 3. 3 screws back in place. The next thing we're going to do is to take the housing, slide it back in place just like how we took it out. Slide it back, Okay, audible click. Once you hear the click, it's time to screw the last screw back in place. Now that we screwed the hard disk drive in place, we still have to install Windows, the SSD, before we can officially start booting it up. We're just going to be straight booting it up, but for you, you have to ensure that you all install Windows on the new SSD before you turn it on. So yeah, now let's quickly turn on this laptop and see if our repair is successful. Let's turn it on. And there we go, it's booting up. So that means our repair for this SSD has been successful. Mine booted up straight to the Windows, so that means our SSD repair has been successful. But like I said before, you all need to install Windows before it works. So if you all are facing any complications in that, you all have to troubleshoot it before it boots up. If my SSD is actually not working and if I'm going to repair it, then I can go on to the software and go on to new Windows operating service, but mine is perfectly working. So that's actually been it for this video, and that is how you replace the SSD on your Samsung laptop. In my opinion, I would say that the hardware part of this repair most probably a 5 out of 10, but the software part, I'm not really sure how is it gonna go. Then you have to do it and leave it in the comments below. Do leave it in the comments below so that I would also know how the software part works. So just do leave your experience in the comments below. I'd love to read them. If you like what you click the like button, get subscribed, turn on notifications so you get notified whenever I post any these kind of sound repair videos, or if I'm doing any kind of review, you will have been notified. You will be the first one to be notified. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch all of you in the next one. Bye bye.